All right, hello everybody. This is Bob again, and today I'm not going to be doing anything about a comic. Instead, I am going to be showing this off, which is the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual by Gary Gygax. This is the second edition one, and so when I think of D&D, this is what I think of. And I just remember, like, I don't know if we're going to have, I mean, you can see these are pretty worse for wear, because we used these so much. Look at this binding is coming apart. And I did a video of these index cards for Larfmech's young or X-Force at the time, right? X-Force or whatever. And those I found inside these books. So around I don't know, at this point, like maybe 3 years ago now, my brother passed away. And then I was able to get a hold of these books again. And so I went looking through them, and that's when I was finding, a whole bunch of these old doodles that we would do. We got into this at around the same time as Willow had come out. And possibly a little bit before Willow. But, Willow came out, and, in that movie they had the blade, like the gauntlet with the sword blade on it, and we thought that was fucking genius. So we started just creating our own weapons, right? And we would get these pieces of graph paper out, and we just started drawing countless weapons, 98% of which were gauntlet related because of that. And we were just like thoroughly into. We had like the gauntlet crossbow, and then we had the gauntlet dagger. We had that Assassin's Creed thing before Assassin's Creed was a thing, with the retractable blade and everything, like the gauntlet shiv or whatever you want to call it. We were thoroughly into that, and I have those drawings somewhere around here. But like we were just, I don't know, so thoroughly into this. When we get to, and I think it's in the, I remember trying to draw this. There's several pictures in here that we tried to draw. So like right here, right, we have Asmodeus. Now as a kid, I think we were saying Asmodeus, right? Because if you look at, Amadeus, it's like the same thing, but just with an S in it. So that's how we thought it was pronounced. But later on, we found out that it was Asmodeus. We have, I think these are hit points from when we were fighting these demons and such in here. It's wild going through this and seeing all of this. But this is, this was just we never once, ever, under any circumstances, used a fucking dinosaur in Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know why this stuff was put in here. That's not a thing that we would have ever done. We wanted our creatures to be more magical. So that's what we were using. I remember reading, I think it was Dark Walker on Moonshay, and reading, this was like the first book I had ever read that had a Displacer Beast in it, and then seeing it in the newest Dungeons & Dragons movie, which I didn't think was the worst thing I had ever seen. I have fun with it, but I think the best thing about that movie was the cameo from the cartoon characters that I was a big fan of, and I would have rather seen a whole movie featuring them than the other people. But here we go with the dragons. Oh my god, we did so much with this. Like I said, these books, we use these every day, so they're kind of torn apart now. So many of these characters, like we tried to redraw this elf thing, and seriously, when I look at this picture of an elf here, it does actually kind of remind me of the elves that I would see in the old Rankin Bass, Ralph Bakshi, Hobbit cartoons, when they showed elves in there or whatever. I remember thinking that they looked a lot like that. I think it's funny. You never hear of the Eye of the Deep anywhere, but it's just a beholder with lobster claws. So that's, that's funny, right? Just all of these. This is so cool in every way. Now I know that I passed a dwarf here, right? We had a dwarf, and I think they also had like the dark dwarves. Like if you read this, it talks about like the Dwargar or something. And I remember that we thought that that was insanely cool. So like we went on a quest to find those. Just insanely cool. So yeah, this brings up a lot of memories. And I have to say, like, so I just talked about how my brother passed away about 3 years ago now. And I also lost, another friend who had introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. His name was Tim Reynolds, and he was killed by somebody with a gun a few months after my brother died. So yeah, it's just looking through this is like really kicking up some memories of like what we used to do with these. This will always and forever be how I look at a halfling. Nothing will be more disturbing than when I see the tiny people that are just, I don't know, like fairies without wings or whatever. Like, I cannot stand that. That is, if I play D&D, I let everybody know you're playing a hobbit. You're not playing some shrunken down human. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, even when they did that in that new D&D movie, it was ridiculous to look at. And it's not I just was not a fan of that. I remember looking at this. I fell in love with this, and these kobolds were so cool. We used to draw all of this, make our own little D&D comics everywhere. Look at this. This is awesome. These are just people. Look at these little puppy dog kobolds that they're fighting. It's kind of hilarious. These guys are putting up a fight apparently, and they got a bunch of them over here netted. I guess the wizard dropped the net on them. It's wild, but they really, really made them look like puppy dogs. I want to tell a little story about this. So we have a lich here, and a lich is basically like an undead wizard, right? So my brother always played a character named Malcor, who was a chaotic evil wizard, and he wanted to become a lich. So the DM at the time, which was my friend Tim, who had died a few months after him, allowed him to pursue that on the adventures that we were on, right? But, my brother was preoccupied with attempting to become a lich instead of following along with the game, and he was trying to run off and do his own thing. And the worst thing you could do in a D&D game is to split the parties up to where, it's harder for the DM to keep track of what's going on. So we've got my brother running off in one direction while we're running off in another. And apparently my brother needed to trap a soul in a jar or something, or a crystal or something like that, so that he would be able to become a lich. And apparently he fumbled that spell and ended up trapping himself in a jar that we never came across as a party. So he was like lost at the bottom of this well or whatever, and we were unable to find him as characters. I'll always remember that because there were a ton of hilarious stories that would happen with my brother while playing D&D. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to go through this and look at some of this stuff and rehash some old memories here with this, because I'm a big D&D fan. I've always been into this, but I'll never love anything more than the second edition Dungeons and Dragons, which I was a big fan of. So guys, if you like the video, please, hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe. I'm going to be trying to bring them out more frequently. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time.